morning, everyone. Lots happening in the world, and everyone's still on lockdown. We're looking for a pathway out of lockdown and a reopening of the economy. And we're going to go back about a week, and Donald Trump was tweeting on March 21st, Hydroxychloroquine and Azithromycin, I think that's how you say that, taken together, have a real chance to be one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. The FDA has moved mountains. Thank you. Hopefully they will both. H works better with A, International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents. Be put in use immediately. People are dying. Move fast, and God bless everyone. And that, he tags US FDA and all these other people. And so I've been hearing kind of about this controversy bubbling, and I'd seen the reports. Here's Global News on March 23rd. Quebec-based pharmaceutical company donates 1 million doses of malarial drug for COVID-19 patients across Canada. And this is positioned as a good story, but they're hedging their bets on this, okay? They don't believe Trump, and they don't believe the FDA. Boucherville-based JAMP Pharma is donating 1 million doses of hydroxychloroquine HCQ to hospitals across Canada in the fight against COVID-19. The drug was designed to treat malaria in patients with certain autoimmune diseases, but is now considered a possible treatment for COVID-19 patients with moderate to severe respiratory distress. Quote, "We're certainly not trying to suggest it's a miracle drug," said Managing Director for Oramed Pharma and JAMP Group, Boismars Bruno. Sorry if I've got that wrong. I don't know how to say that. It's biosimilars? Boismart? Yeah, biosimilars. Okay. Bruno Mader. I think that's how you say that. Mader. Since HCQ hasn't yet been approved by Health Canada for this use, one preliminary study of HCQ patients who have contracted the virus is considered promising in the fight against COVID-19. Quote, we have product and we decided that we'd make a contribution to the effort, said Mader. The company started the process to ship the doses to hospitals across Canada on Monday. Patients who currently use HCQ for other ailments such as rheumatoid arthritis and lupus are told they won't be affected. We're considered an essential service, said Mader. We still have teams producing and distributing. Quebec's Health and Social Service Ministry did not put out a specific request for the medication, but according to JAMP Pharma, some Canadian hospitals have warned of a possible shortage of HCQ. I can tell you it's a top priority for hospitals, said Mader. United States President Donald Trump drew criticism on Sunday after tweeting hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin taken together have a real chance to be one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. The tweet referenced an article in the International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents, which has not passed peer review process by other researchers. The article was based on a single study in France that administered the drug to 26 patients, including one who died, which represents a 3.8% death rate, similar to the overall mortality rate from COVID-19. So they're trying to say that this drug combination is no better than the regular death rate. It doesn't really do anything. That's what they're trying to imply. Okay, and moving on, here is a Global News article on March 24th. So Trump tweeted on the 21st. Then there's the donation because it looks promising, because the French study is legitimate and it does look promising. Okay, and now they're trying to position this as Donald Trump's fault. It says Global News. And this is under news. This isn't under opinion or anything. This is news. Don't trust Trump's coronavirus cure, says widow of man poisoned by chloroquine. A newly widowed Arizona woman in intensive care is urging Americans to take medical advice from doctors and not U.S. President Donald Trump after her husband died from swallowing a form of chloroquine. The POTUS touted as a coronavirus game changer. The president had repeatedly touted the anti-malarial drug without providing the necessary context one should get from a doctor, such as the safe dosage, potential side effects, or even what it looks like, pill, not liquid. I'm just going to pause here. Had he given the dosage or anything to that effect, that would have been irresponsible. What he said was, well, I showed the tweet, and I think that assuming that he should be giving dosage out or something to that effect is just ridiculous. It's just unbelievably irresponsible of Global News to be putting in print. It's very, very suspect. Anyway, back to the article. And the other part is, I don't wish harm on anybody. This is terrible that they misinterpreted whoever's words, Donald Trump's words or whatever, to think that ingesting fish chloroquine would be a good idea. And sorry if I'm not saying that right. It just, that's how I'm going to say it. That's terrible. That's awful that her husband died. But That's not Donald Trump's fault, and it's irresponsible for the news to imply that it is. Okay. The woman and her husband, both in their 60s, were rushed to hospital after ingesting chlorinic phosphate on Monday, according to a statement from Boehner Health in Phoenix, Arizona. The man died in hospital, and the woman remains in intensive care. The woman told NBC News that she and her husband tried chlorinic because they heard President Trump talking about it as a powerful drug for fighting coronavirus during a recent press conference. Quote, Trump kept saying it was basically pretty much a cure, said the woman, who asked NBC that her identity remain anonymous. The poisoned woman, yeah, said she and her husband each took a spoonful of chlorinic phosphate, which they had around the house, as a fish tank cleaner. She said they saw chlorinic on the label and figured it was what Trump was talking about. The pair became violently ill within 30 minutes. My husband started developing respiratory problems and wanted to hold my hand, she said. The woman said she struggled to call 911 because she kept falling over and vomiting. I was having a hard time talking, she told NBC News. I fought for my life. When asked what the message she wanted to share with others, the woman kept it simple. Don't take anything. Don't believe anything the president says, the woman said. Trump did say that chlorinic could be an absolute total game changer. So, I think this is irresponsible reporting in the face of, and like kind of cheering for this not to work. I mean, this is clearly not what President Trump intended for people to do. You need to be supervised when taking medication. And if you suspect that you have coronavirus, then maybe take these drugs in combination with, in consultation with your doctor, right? But should you take fish cleaner? No. No, right? Like, obviously, I think no. Anyway, so here's Conrad Yabuski, and he is a columnist at the Globe and Mail, and he says, Trump's miracle COVID-19 drug deserves a chance. It may be all we've got. This article is hilarious. I mean, if you want to read every other sentence or every other paragraph is like a punch at Trump. Every other one. It's just really funny. Like, he tries to give President Trump zero credit at all. So anyway, I'm just going to highlight this part because it's the most interesting part. So speaking of drugs, Mr. Trump also jumped the gun by tweeting about an unproven remedy for COVID-19, hydroxychloroquine, as potentially being one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. That one did serious damage. It raised false hope among some desperate people who reportedly ingested the drug or products that contained it with devastating consequences. It also undermined serious effort to examine the drug's potential. So he's not even endorsing this as a potential cure because it comes from Trump. He's saying, again, trying to lay what people chose to do in their own home at Trump's feet, right? Like, I think that's really interesting positioning. And then to move into this. Still, back to the article, it would be wrong to dismiss chlorinic's potential as a COVID-19 treatment simply because Mr. Trump likes its odds. The article cited in touting the drug, published in an international journal of antimicrobial agents, has sparked serious debate around the world. Its principal author, Dieter Raut of, I'm not going to say that, Aix-Marseille, University in France, has long challenged the medical establishment in his country, and he's often been right. Dr. Raut's non-peer-reviewed study, as well as preliminary research conducted in China, quickly prompted French authorities to approve clinical trials on the drug. French President Emmanuel Macron's government also approved chlorinic as a treatment for severe COVID-19 cases in a hospital setting under strict supervision by a group of doctors. Nobody's taking fish cleaner there, right? Okay. Nice Mayor Christian Estrolsi, who said his COVID-19 symptoms all but disappeared after taking hydroxychloroquine in combination with the antibiotic drug Azithromycin, as prescribed by Dr. Raut, has called on Mr. Macron's government to go much further. Chlorinic is perhaps one of the most prescribed drugs in the world, Dr. Raut said in a summary of his study, noting that it has been a stable anti-malarial treatment for European travelers to Africa and Africans themselves for decades, and until January, chlorinic was available over the counter in France. Hydroxychloroquine has been prescribed for years globally to treat autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis and lupus. It is difficult to find a product that currently has a better established safety profile than chlorinic, Dr. Raut said. Dr. Raut's study asserts. Furthermore, its cost is negligible, hence it's possible to use both prophylaxis in people in people exposed to the novel coronavirus, and as a curative treatment will probably be prompted
promptly evaluated by our Chinese colleagues. If clinical data confirm the biological result, the novel coronavirus-associated disease will have become one of the simplest and cheapest to treat and prevent among infectious respiratory diseases. So it's basically what he's saying is it's a safe drug that is widely available and has been tested in humans, like has a long history. Here's the National Post saying anti-malarial drug hydroxychloroquine, also called Plaquenil, is not approved to treat COVID-19 but shows promise. So this is the same kind of stuff. Here's the article. Anti-malarial drug, just one drug in trials to treat COVID-19. In the past week, there's been a lot of buzz around hydroxychloroquine as an anti-malarial drug sold under the name Plaquenil. On Monday, Quebec-based JAMP donated 1 million doses to hospitals across Canada to fight the coronavirus. Apotex Canada said Monday that it also donated hydrochloroquine to 5 clinical trials taking place across the country. Sanofi Canada, which produces Plaquenil, is also ramping up. At a global level, we're already putting supply efforts in place to address the increasing demand for the product and significantly increasing our production capacity, said Alison Reynolds, spokesperson for Sanofi Pasteur. We are working with Canadian public health authorities and government to define how Sanofi can support Canada's efforts with respect to the COVID-19 situation. The move comes after a small-scale French study shows that a significant percentage of the 26 patients diagnosed with coronavirus who were given hydrochloroquine along with common antibiotic Azithromycin saw their symptoms improve and their nasal viral loads go down. Plaquenil has also been very effective at killing the coronavirus in a number of lab experiments in China, according to the medical journal Clinical Infectious Diseases, which reported its findings on March 9th. And I thought there was a link there, but I didn't click to it, but it's just underlined. Anyway, it is important to note that hydroxychloroquine is not approved to treat COVID-19, and the French trial wasn't randomized and controlled, prompting researchers to call for further study to determine the medication's efficacy and safety. I scroll down. We need the evidence before you can provide medication to people, said Theresa Tam, Canada's chief public health officer, on Monday. We've got so many ideas from all over the world, many researchers saying, well, this drug might work or another drug might work. Here's an example from Ebola from a few years ago. August 13th, 2019, it says, an Ebola drug trial ended early because it was so successful. That could change how doctors handle future outbreaks. A year into an Ebola virus outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, researchers have halted an experimental drug trial because early results appear so promising. The drugs will be made available to more patients in the DRC, hopefully saving lives as the current outbreak continues. But the decision to end the trial early has implications that go beyond the DRC. It could also change the way infectious diseases treatments are studied in years to come. So I wonder why they're saying, well, hold on, we got to do lots of studies. There's lots of drugs that might work. These drugs are being proven as we sit on our hands and do nothing. Like at least we're doing 5 trials. At least they're being approved for 5 trials. But like it seems like they don't want this to work. People want the economy back. Like I'd love to have schools open and have people return to work and have the economy return to normal and things not have to be billion-dollar rescue packages that are going to go on forever. I'd rather not slide into communism, thanks very much, because of a virus. Like, let's get back to work if we can. And if it's 2 little cheap pills for a couple of days, and I'll read to you the course. Let's do that, right? Like it seems insane. Here's this. We need evidence before you can provide medication to people. Theresa Tam said, we've got so many ideas, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Tam said that Canada has joined Solidarity, a large global trial spearheaded by the World Health Organization to determine which medications work best in treating COVID-19. Hydrochloroquine is one of the medications listed in that trial. She said Canadians should not take hydrochloroquine without scientific evidence. It can be quite dangerous. The drugs are not without side effects, she said. Yeah, but nobody mentioned that it was one of the most studied, right? And like when you have positive results, you end that study and you give it to the broader patient base. You give it to the whole group, right? Or you give them the option to take it. Ontario healthcare workers told to stop, this is March 24th, told to stop giving patients unproven Trump-touted COVID-19 treatment. Not to rehash what Trump keeps saying, it's just stays in the articles. So anyway, we're going to read a bit more. Healthcare workers in Ontario were advised Monday not to give patients a questionable combination of drugs that U.S. President Donald Trump and others on social media have claimed can treat patients suffering from the novel coronavirus. In a joint message to members, the Provincial Association for Doctors, Pharmacists, and Registered Nurses said there is a lack of evidence to suggest hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin can treat COVID-19, noting prescriptions for the combination of the drugs in Canada have soared following an exponential growth in social media posts citing anecdotal reports of the drug's effectiveness. Do you think they're going to get some SEO? Make sure those exponential growth curves aren't being shown. Oh, anyways, back to this. As a result, Canada is now facing a shortage of hydroxychloroquine, which is intended for use as a treatment for rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and to prevent and treat some acute attacks of malaria. Okay, well, I'll reference you to the Quebec manufacturer who said they're ramping up their supply. I'm not sure how we're at a shortage, but anyway, whatever. Back to this. Find out where it was. Here it is. At this time, there is a serious lack of evidence that categorically supports the widespread use of hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. Against the advice of his top health officials, Trump over the past few days encouraged use of the prescription drug to treat COVID-19. In one tweet Saturday, the president claimed that taken together, the drugs have a real chance to be one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. iPolitics, this is why I wanted to highlight this. iPolitics is not linking to the tweet to discourage the sharing of inaccurate information. Okay, so, and move forward. Here is a doctor who is talking about his course of how to treat people and when to treat people. I was going to read it. I'm not going to read it now because we're already at 15 minutes and it's already too long. Here is a second French study by the same doctor, and it is proving the efficacy of the study, and here's another link to the study. New French study confirms efficacy of hydroxychloroquine as erythromycin as treatment. I just want to make sure everybody knows efficacy means the ability to produce a desired or intended result. So this thing works. It works and appears to be proven to work. William was asking, what's the status of Trump's pills in Ontario, Canada, the hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin combo? They sound very promising. Are our hospitals prescribing them? Here is a Global News tweet that says Global News has learned that the coronavirus anti-malarial drug hydroxychloroquine is being tested at the Lynn Valley Care Center as a possible therapy for coronavirus. So there's at least 5 trials, and this is one of them. But during this whole article, it talks about how it's unproven and that you shouldn't take it, and we have to wait for more time and more trials. It says that the drugs show promise, but it says that the guidance, so it says here, on Thursday, the College of Pharmacists of BC and College of Physicians and Surgeons of BC and BC College of Nursing Professionals took the unusual step of issuing a joint statement warning against the use of unproven treatments, including hydroxychloroquine. And I again refer you to the Ebola thing. Let's trial it. Let's look at it. Let's see if it works. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't work, then fine. Let's move on to something else. We've got ventilators being built as a backup. But if this works, if this is, oh man, I got the virus and, hook me up with, like I said, there's an outline of the course if you're interested. Relatively easy, 7 days and you're done. A couple of pills, 3 pills, that's it. So I can't see a vaccine being better than that. No, I can't. And this is interesting, all the positioning. And I know this took a long time to get through, so thanks for sticking with me. But all of the positioning to get to, from Trump saying this might work, to being blamed for people's misinterpretation of his words, and also having people, and not just Ontario leaders, but there's leaders of states who have said, don't prescribe this. That's not a good idea. Don't prescribe this. Because the thing is, these drugs can be prescribed because they've been tested and are being used for lupus, being used for anti-malarials, being used for all sorts of things. So these things have had human trials. It's not like we need to wait a year to start these trials. All we need to do is put the drugs in combination and see if they work. And have a controlled study. Look at it. Seriously, do the research you need. But when it starts working, don't withhold it. Don't vilify it because Trump came up with it. Don't vilify it because the President of the United States wants the economy working as fast as possible. Do you know how many restaurants are on a week away from closing? Do you know how many restaurants were a week away from closing last week? Right? Like, how about small department or like stores, downtown square stores, anything that's not a big box store, anything that's not an emergency to be working now, right? People want to get back to work. If this is a way to get back to work, let's do it. Let's do it. What's going on? Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out CanadaPoly.com, check out CanadaReport.co, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Wash your hands.